Okay guys, we're back and we're reviewing the full package of the Ulefone T1. I was just unboxing it and I set it up, plugged it in. I'm going to show you all the things that come in the box. So you get the box is set up like this, the phone's in there nicely, and you get this nice cord that looks like the OnePlus 3 and 5 T. Comes with a fast charger, this little block here, and it's for American plug, so that's nice. You get your user manual. You get a fairly crappy case. I've heard people say this is a nice case. I don't like it. It's pretty flimsy. I don't see how it's going to protect the phone too much. The ZTE Blade V8 Pro comes with a much better case. This accessory, I guess, is for standing the phone up. Not much use for me, but hey, that's that. Okay, so what do we get in this phone? So you get a 4G LTE connection. This is the global version, and it says the phone covers up to 90% of the mobile networks around the globe. And that's important when you're buying these Chinese phones. A lot of times, unfortunately, the network coverage can be spotty, and sometimes it's even non-existent. So that's a big problem. In fact, the Ulefone Power 3 that I wanted to purchase instead of this model simply doesn't cover the LTE bands in the United States. So unfortunately, you're just limited as to what you can get. But this particular model from Ulefone does, and it's running a 5.5-inch Full HD display, 16 megapixel, 5 megapixel dual front camera, plus I think it's a 5 megapixel selfie cam with a flash on both sides. I think a dual flash on the front camera. Get a fingerprint reader, 8-core Helio P25 processor, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabyte of ROM, and the fingerprint ID reader. So those are the major specs on the phone. And how does it work? So far, I just got the phone, so you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, but you can see I just popped my SIM in there from T-Mobile, and I'm getting Volt 4G without having to do anything. I didn't adjust the APN or anything. So I'm going to unplug this and just give you a brief showing of the phone. So the top, you just have your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. No IR blaster, unfortunately, on this model. SIM tray on the left, nothing else. Get your 2 speaker grills and USB-C port on the bottom. One speaker grill is actually just a microphone. The other is the actual speaker. Your earphone speaker here. There is no stereo sound. Dual cameras on the back with the dual LED. And then you have 3 buttons on the right, volume on the top with the 2 buttons for the volume, and power is on the bottom. It's a full HD display. It looks pretty good. It's not an AMOLED, but it's decent. The viewing angles get a little washed out at certain angles, but using the built-in adjustments that you can do with the MediaTek processor, it actually works pretty good. So one of the things, I'm just going to do some web browsing. So, it's pretty quick. Some of the things aren't loading here, as you can see as I'm browsing. So, but as far as the different apps on the phone, do they work well? They do seem to work pretty well, pretty quickly. The phone can hold a lot of stuff in RAM. It doesn't have any capacitive buttons, which is unfortunate. I would have liked to have seen a right and left capacitive button. I can use the home button as a back screen or as a recent apps, and I can just go through and delete all my recent apps. So that's nice. It's nice to be able to use the fingerprint reader as a home button, so that I can use the full 5.5-inch display. Um, it's a pretty stock Android interface. We got pretty much just 7.0 here, nothing too much added on. There's some additional features like with the fingerprint reader, but it's pretty much stock. There's something called DuraSpeed, which allows you to boost foreground apps. I don't know how that works. I haven't tried it. I'm a little scared to try it, simply because sometimes those things can be a little aggressive and cause problems. But it does have an on-screen LED notification. You can do all kinds of gesture controls. You can record the screen, the buttons on the phone. You can have a physical button like I have set up now, or you can have on-screen buttons. So it's up to you what you want to do. And everything is pretty much stock. There was no bloatware at all on this. There's no Chinese apps, nothing. So that was pretty good. As far as benchmarks and things like that, I will have to do a full review of that later. But my initial impressions so far, the build quality is very good. It's a little thick, actually, for what I was expecting. I was expecting a thinner device, but it's a little thick, but it holds nice in the hand. The size is good. It comes with 2 screen protectors. The one that was installed was giving me a rainbow effect, so I just took that off. And like I said, it comes with this case here, which just snaps right in. And it looks like that. So it's an okay case. I mean, it's alright, but it's not going to save the device if you drop it, I don't think. I like the USB cord. There's no updates on this. I doubt there will be any updates for this past the 7.0, even though they have other models with 7.1.1. And as far as Oreo is concerned, I don't know if it'll get any updates at all. But as it is, as a device for $250, it's certainly a nice phone. It looks good. It works pretty quickly. I'm going to have to get back on my observations on performance. So far, it's not as snappy as I thought it would be. It's not like the Snapdragon 625, which is a pretty quick processor. So I'm going to do a little more testing, and then I'll give you guys my full review. It's too early to tell, but build quality is certainly good. It's good that it has a small build of Android on here, not a lot of junk. The other thing that I like about it is that it has, if we look into our storage, let me see. Sorry guys, I'm getting used to this. So 3.98 gigabytes, that's with updates of the installed apps that came with the phone. So 4 gigabytes of used storage, you get about 53 out of the box. So that's pretty good. Most installations that I've seen, take up about 12 gigs of space. So you can also format the storage, like you can use an SD card and add, make it as internal storage. I chose not to do that, but if you needed to, you can add additional storage, I think up to like 256 gigabytes, if I'm not mistaken. So that's my initial review of the Ulefone T1. The Ulefone is not a well-known brand here in the United States. So there you go. It has some really good specs. It's a fast phone, and I will give you guys a detailed review beyond just the initial specs and unboxing of how I like the phone, the software, and its performance. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give a thumbs up. I'll be giving a full review of the Ulefone, and then the next phone that I will be reviewing is the Xiaomi Mi Max 2, and then the Windows phone. I have an Alcatel 4GS coming that I got for $100, and I'm going to do a review of that so you guys get to understand or see how the Windows platform works. You know, for $100, it's worth it to see. The hardware alone is pretty good. I think it has a 652 processor, a Snapdragon, so it'll be interesting to see how that performs. So that's it, guys. Stay tuned for my full review of the Ulefone T1. As far as network reliability, yeah, it works. Gets full volt, 4G, and so far seems like a pretty nice device for the money. I'm pretty impressed. We'll see about performance, and I'll get back to you. Okay, thanks again.